The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. Something needs to be done about many different things going on in the country. Our country is in free fall, and these are good American people. These are Trump's disaster relief plan steps. Step 1. Brag about being the best. Step 2. Threaten to withhold aid. Step 3. Make outrageous demands. Step 4. Get roasted by Jimmy Kimmel. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but makes a huge difference to us. Did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Want to see how this brilliant 4-step plan plays out? Stick around because we're about to spill all the tea. Remember when Trump used to strut around like he was the king of disaster relief? Well, folks, it looks like his crown is slipping faster than his hairpiece in a hurricane. Great American people, so you know, sometimes severe, sometimes not so severe. But what they do want is what's good for the country. A lot of people they pardoned before we even get to today. They pardoned, what is it? 33 murderers. Absolute murderers. The worst. Our orange superhero used to swoop in, tossing paper towels like they were golden tickets to Mar-a-Lago. But now he's threatening to leave California high and dry and on fire unless they dance to his tune. Let's break down Trump's genius strategy, shall we? First up, the bragging. Grumpy Trumpy claimed he was the best thing to happen to disaster relief since, well, disasters. He'd puff out his chest and declare, "Nobody does disaster relief like me, believe me." But wait, there's more. Now he's saying California can burn unless they do what he wants. Talk about a hot take from Donnie Diapers. During a rally in Coachella, California, Trump threatened to add conditions to future disaster aid. He said, "We're not giving you any of that fire money that we send you all the time unless the state agrees to changes in water policy." What's next? Demanding In-N-Out rename their burgers after him? "I'll only send help if you call it a Trump burger with extra cough sauce." New fires across Southern California are forcing firefighters into what seems like a volatile game of whack-a-mole. From Ventura County to San Diego, that ridge that is Belia. And over the past 24 hours, it has felt like so many fires erupted at almost the same time. But hold on to your mega hats, folks. It gets even better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. Trump's not the only one playing this game. Ohio Representative Warren Davidson suggested that Congress should withhold disaster relief until California changes its forest management practices. He said, if they want the money, then there should be consequences. Because nothing says, "I care about American lives," like holding disaster relief hostage, right? And it doesn't stop there. Wyoming Senator John Barrasso, one of Trump's buddies, chimed in, saying California shouldn't be given a blank check for disaster relief. California, 10 million people facing dangerous fire conditions with up to 70 mph winds. But rain now in the forecast. After months of bone-dry fire in Southern California, more than 50,000 people were forced to flee under an evacuation warning. Let's go to Chief National Correspondent Matt Gum on the scene. I guess they think people should put out wildfires with thoughts and prayers instead of, actual help. But here's the real kicker. The cherry on top of this disaster Sunday. Trump's using disaster relief as a political bargaining chip. That's right. He's playing politics while people's homes are literally going up in smoke. It's like he's saying, your house is on fire. Too bad. Change your water policy first. Then we'll talk about that pesky inferno in your living room. Experts are saying that attaching strings to disaster relief is not only heartless, but also likely to lead to inappropriate conditions being imposed. In other words, it's a recipe for disaster on top of the actual disaster. But who needs experts when you have the stable genius himself, right? Well, folks, just when you thought the Republican Party couldn't get any more dysfunctional, along comes Mitch McConnell to prove you wrong. He's wielded power in a way that is more destructive to the American people, or more shameful than Mitch McConnell. 40 years later, I would stand before you as the longest-serving Senate leader in American history. You know Mitch, right? The guy who usually looks like he's trying not to smile at a turtle's funeral. Well, it turns out he's been secretly roasting Trump hotter than a Mar-a-Lago poolside in July. Now you might be thinking, but aren't they on the same team? Well, apparently not. Behind closed doors, our favorite talking turtle has been caught saying some pretty spicy things about the Orange Menace. And let me tell you, it's juicier than a well-done Trump steak with ketchup. No individual has done more damage to the Senate than Mitch McConnell. No single individual has inflicted more harm. I have the honor of representing Kentucky and the Senate longer than anyone else in our state's history. Let's dive into Mitch's greatest hits, shall we? Picture this. It's just after the 2020 election, and McConnell's feeling sassy. He decides to throw some shade at Trump, saying his behavior only underscores the good judgment of the American people. Ouch, that's Mitch speak for you. Lost. Get over it, you big baby. Mitch McConnell, better known as Mitch, even better known as the longest-serving Republican Senate leader in the minority, says, I'm filled with heartfelt gratitude and humility for the opportunity. But wait, there's more. McConnell didn't stop there. He went on to say that the American people had just had enough of the misrepresentations, the outright lies, almost on a daily basis. Wow, Mitch, tell us how you really feel. I mean, we all knew Trump had a complicated relationship with the truth, but hearing it from his own party's leader, that's gotta sting more than a spray tan mishap. And remember that coronavirus aid package that Trump took his sweet time approving? Well, Mitch wasn't too happy about that either. He criticized Trump for sitting on this package of relief that the American people desperately needed. I guess even Mitch has his limits when it comes to playing political games with people's lives. But here's where it gets really spicy. After the January 6th Capitol riot, McConnell stood up on the Senate floor and dropped this bombshell. Trump was practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. Holy guacamole! That's like your best friend telling everyone at your birthday party that you're the reason the cake tastes like feet. Now, you might be thinking, wow, Mitch really grew a spine. But hold on to your MAGA hats, folks, because here comes the plot twist to end all plot twists. Despite all this trash talk, despite calling Trump practically everything but the Antichrist, guess what Mitch did? He endorsed Trump's 2024 presidential campaign. That's right, folks. Mitch pulled a political pretzel twist so fast, it would make a yoga instructor jealous. When asked about his previous comments, Mitch tried to brush it off, saying it pales in comparison to what other Trump allies have said. Oh, Mitch, that's like saying, sure, I set the house on fire, but at least I didn't nuke the whole neighborhood. Talk about lowering the bar. Well, folks, just when you thought American politics couldn't get any weirder, along comes a duo that's making heads spin faster than Trump's toupee in a hurricane. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the most unlikely tag team since peanut butter met jelly, Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris. They say that if Donald Trump is re-elected, it will be the end of the republic. What do you mean? He's told us what he will do for his dedication to the cause of freedom. Borisov was assassinated by Vladimir Putin's thugs. Now, if you're scratching your head, wondering if you're in some bizarre political twilight zone, you're not alone. Liz Cheney, the daughter of Dick, Darth Vader Cheney, has gone full rebel mode. She's teamed up with none other than Democratic VP Kamala Harris. It's like watching a political version of Freaky Friday, only with less body swapping and more constitution saving. But hold on to your MAGA hats, folks, because this isn't just some casual bipartisan brunch date. These two are on a mission, and they're not pulling any punches. Picture this: Cheney and Harris standing side by side, like some bizarre political buddy cop movie. It's very easy to see the steps that he will take. People who say, well, if he's elected, it's not that dangerous, tell me that her greatest fear was that people would forget. They would forget what it was like to live under Soviet domination. Bad Girls for Democracy, coming soon to a democracy near you. Cheney's not mincing words either. She's calling out Trump faster than he can type CF on Twitter. At a recent event, she dropped this truth bomb. We may disagree on some things, but we are bound together by the one thing that matters to us as Americans more than any other, and that's our duty to our Constitution and our belief in the miracle and the blessing of this incredible nation. That's like accusing a vegan of secretly running a steakhouse. It's that shocking coming from a lifelong Republican. What we see happening today is sort of a sleepwalking into a dictatorship in the United States, Cheney says, and a dissident who spent years in the Soviet gulag has all told me it was the miracle of America. Meanwhile, Harris is painting Trump as a threat to democracy faster than he can spray on his signature orange tan. During a rally in Ripon, Wisconsin, she laid it out plain and simple. He refused to accept the will of the people and the results of an election that was free and fair. Therein lies the profound difference between Donald Trump and me. He who violated the oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, and make no mistake, he who, if given the chance, would violate it again. Ouch, that's got to sting more than a failed spray tan. It gets really interesting. Cheney's not alone in her rebellion. There's a whole crew of GOP misfits joining the anti-Trump train. It's like watching a political version of The Breakfast Club, only instead of detention, they're trying to save democracy. And just when you thought this political soap opera couldn't get any juicier, even Trump's former staff are jumping ship. Cassidy Hutchinson, once a loyal Trumper and key witness for the January 6th committee, is now Team Cheney. In this case, specifically legal counsel, there's an expectation that you are also protecting somebody else. I ended up moving down to Atlanta for several months. They didn't even think it was safe for you to stay in DC. No, at 2 Cassidy, it's like watching rats flee a sinking ship. Only the ship is orange and keeps insisting it's actually a luxury yacht. This alliance between Cheney and Harris is like watching a unicorn ride a dinosaur. It's that rare and unbelievable. It's a moment of bipartisanship so unexpected. It's making politicians on both sides of the aisle do a double take. It's like they're forming a political Avengers team. Only instead of fighting Thanos, they're battling to keep democracy from turning into a bad reality TV show. For him, I would not vote for Donald Trump in 2024, but I also do not want to sit here and catastrophize a scenario where he is actually the Republican nominee. After my testimony, there's the immediate security protocols and security concerns. Well, folks, the GOP is having an identity crisis bigger than Trump's ego, and that's saying something. It's like they're throwing a political pizza party, but nobody can agree on the toppings. You've got your Trump loyalists who'd put pineapple on anything, if the Donald said so. You've got never-Trumpers who'd rather eat cardboard, and a whole bunch of folks in the middle wondering if they can just order a salad instead. This isn't just a little family squabble we're talking about here. It's a full-on political civil war. And Twitter's become the new Gettysburg. On one side, you've got folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who'd probably volunteer to be Trump's human shield if he asked nicely. On the other, Liz Cheney's, leading a rebel alliance that's got more plot twists than a soap opera. But here's where it gets really fun. Some Republicans are doing more flip-flops than a fish out of water. One day, they're wagging their fingers at Trump. The next, they're begging for his autograph. It's like they're playing political hot potato, but the potato is orange and has a bad comb-over. Ultimately, they turn to Trump World, and I was very candid with Trump World about my situation, and I was desperate. Yes, I was given counsel. So my life changed, in the way that I was living my life for a while. You couldn't go back to your apartment. I could not go back to my apartment. Then there's the silent majority, trying to stay neutral, like Switzerland in a world war. Good luck with that, guys. It's about as easy as trying to eat soup with a fork. They're stuck in the middle, watching their party turn into a three-ring circus, complete with clowns and acrobats. The real kicker: this divide is affecting everything from policy decisions to how they handle their morning coffee. Do I drink it black like a true conservative, or add some liberal cream? It's not just about politics anymore. It's become a full-blown identity crisis. Republicans are questioning everything from their stance on disaster relief to whether they should keep saying bigly in casual conversation. But here's the million-dollar question. The thing that's keeping Republican strategists up at night, tossing and turning in their red, white, and blue pajamas. Can the GOP survive this Trump-shaped tornado? Or is it headed for a political extinction event? It's like the party's playing a game of political Jenga, and Trump's the guy who keeps poking at the bottom blocks. Every time he tweets, another piece wobbles. Every rally he holds, another Republican breaks out in a cold sweat. The party's trying to balance traditional conservative values with Trump's, well, Trumpness. It's like trying to mix oil and water, except the oil keeps insisting it's actually a very stable genius water. This struggle is playing out in real time, affecting how Republicans approach everything from disaster relief to whether they should wear a mask in public. It's got party members more confused than a chameleon in a bag of Skittles.